84 evens are trading here now, guys. 82 evens are trading. Paper comes in a big seller. 81 evens are trading here now, guys. 79s are trading.
What is going on, traders? This is going to be a video about how I've set up my weekly and daily TPO charts with the shading and different volume profile coloring, and how I've gone about doing that. Have had a few people ask me about it, so I figured I'd share that. And then there was also an individual that emailed me about my latest footprint, and they noticed it's a little different and they like it, so I'll go into the settings for that as well. So without further ado, let me get into it. I'm going to start here with the footprint settings, and then we'll move right on to the TPO settings. Okay, so up here we have a footprint chart of the E-mini, and basically the differences that I've made. They're not big from my last video. We've still got the center bar overlay. We have the volume here on the right. Here, let's move this over so maybe we're seeing here first. Let me add right side fill space lock. There you go. Now we can do this a little better, like so. Okay, so essentially not much has changed except for the delta background is full background coloration, and it's colored by, the highest deltas in the session will be the brightest. And I've just noticed that for me this helps me to just look at initiation. Sometimes you get a big positive delta movement, and there's absorption, and it just for me it helps visually. And then I know when there's a little absorption or something, I know it'll turn lighter blue. And so really those are the major settings. And so let me go into it real quick here. Let's get into the studies here, into the numbers bars study that's added, and let's just get into it. So column 1, number bars text, is still the same thing, ask volume, bid volume difference. The column background, the background type, it's going to be changed to full background. Okay, that's what that is, full background. And then the column 1 background coloring method is going to be, you can see here, based on ask volume, bid volume difference, percentage of max dominant side. Okay, and then this fourth one, which is column 1 text coloring, it's based on dominant ask volume, bid volume to volume at price percentage. And then these are the colors. Pause the screen, you could take down the RGBs, right? So there's that. And then here is what I'm doing on the volume right here. So you're doing column 3 range up color, range 2 and 3 for the up colors, and then the down colors you're doing orange on those two, and then white on the others. RGB is 255 RGB all the way down. It's a volume profile for the background type. The text here is volume. The background coloring method is based on volume percentage. The text coloring method is none. And let's see, the default text color is this one, 128 RGB across the board. You're doing open to closed boxes here to create that space, but I covered that already in another video. And then determine maximum values for coloring from its daily data, and then for column 1, 0.25, 0.5, and 0.95 for the text. For column 3, it's 0.25, 0.5, and 0.75, right? So let's see, highlight, doing maximum. You see all this, you could just pause it. Alright, so for the coloring, this is for the text coloring. I'm doing a slightly lighter orange. It pops a little more. And then I'm doing kind of a light gray, so 192 RGBs. This stuff doesn't really matter. The highlight non-zero bit, ask volume. Let's see, at high or low, column 1 extension line until further intersection. Let's see, not really. So we're highlighting the incomplete auction using these settings, column 1 with extension line. We're doing 49 here. That's just what works for the E-mini. Maybe you find something else works, but whatever. Default background color is this. And then all of this going down is set like that. The scale on this is just automatic, right? You're not drawing it under the main site. So that's it. Those are the pertinent footprint settings for the volume side and everything. And then in the numbers bars calculated values, let's see, it's this one. Which one is it down here? NB calc values right there. So this is, well, we'll just open it to get it. It's numbers, bars, calculated values study. I just shorten it to NB calc values. Okay, it's in chart region 2. It's down here, right? And so for this one, you can copy these settings. All right, it's so simple. There you go. So just copy all of this. Again, this is for one individual. Make sure this is daily data, right? Just pay attention. Percent compare thresholds, right? Copy all of those. You want to get your colors right. Do this too. Okay, so higher volume, very high volume, right? And so again, I've set it up like this and it works. So these are my settings. Let's see. Subgraphs are down here. Again, it's not that one. It is bar volume. You have to go change the short name down here to bar delt. Let's see. To bar volume, because it'll call it total volume, but it's really bar volume. It's total volume for the bar. So you just call it bar volume, and then again, if you copy the other settings, it'll show off to the right down here. You're always going to have some space, so that's a nice use of it, of the space down here, instead of using it over here or something, which then, you know, gives you less of these to look at. So this is the best place to put it, I think. And then you have volume per second, right, which shows us heavy interest. So this is near the close, so of course it's going to be high volume per second because closes have high volume, right? Hence we have the settlement volume right down here. But this will be the big spot. 4270 will likely be resistance on first touch. But this is for the whole bar, this is the actual settlement volume here. But you can see that they really pinned it right in here. So that'll be important. And it was extremely high settlement volume today, by the way. Closing on lows with high volume, which is great. Anyway, so there's the settings. Now let's go over to the TPO. And so this is my screen of TPO charts. Okay, so right here, up here, this is the daily TPO. And then this is the weekly for the E-mini, and then this is the daily TPO for the NQ, and then the weekly for the NQ down here, right? That's just how I do it. Dailies together, weeklies together. You know, maybe I'll do I don't know, daily and weekly ES or something, but for now this is how my brain understands it well. Okay, so let me maximize this screen real quick. So here is my essentially my TPO chart for the E-mini. So someone was asking about how the heck do you get this shading? So that's a thing. So basically the way that these charts are organized, and I'll just kind of go through. I know there's a lot of lines and stuff on this chart because, you know, do a lot of homework, blah, 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 from last weekend. It'll get all cleaned up this weekend with new levels. Essentially, I'm just going to go over what each of these lines are, and then we'll go into the settings. So all right, we're looking here. This blue line is the initial balance for 60 minutes of trade. Well, how about we look at today? For 60 minutes, the orange is the open today. Right here, you see that little orange highlighted? Okay, the shaded blue area is value area high, value area low, so it's the value area. The white line extending out here is the time point of control, or TPOC. 50% is simply the initial balance cut in half, then added. So it's the 50% extension range of initial balance. And so it goes 50, 100%. Okay, so today we extended 150% plus. So big moves, obviously, in this volatility. The orange line is associated with the volume by price study that we've added on this right side facing inward. And that's the volume point of control, or VPOC. These dotted lines represent singles, right? Where the market in the 30 minutes never retraced back. It just continued down. So it shows aggressive, typically aggressive buying or selling, right? So these are singles. Let's see, what else? The orange shaded areas of the volume by price study, or the volume profile, is where there's high volume, right? And so if you know me with my charts, I like to highlight things that are high volume, like you saw in the footprint with orange. So we're just seeing a consistent theme here, and I like to use consistent themes. And then the orange arrow is where the market closed. And so the open is high volume typically, a little higher today. Or the open is typically very high volume in a short amount of time. And then the close is typically high volume in a short amount of time. You can see the close today. Lots of volume transacting way down here. And then the market tumbled further after the close, which it's actually right here. But these are cash session settings only. And then in terms of the actual TPO itself, you can see how it's shaded. What it's doing here is, and there's a setting, we'll go into it, is the blocks that are darker are further back in time. And so the lighter the blocks, it means, so for example here how it's shaded darker, that happened further into the past. And then all of this price action happened later in time. So this can be illustrated if we break this into individual 30-minute sessions, right? You can see how this shows this happened at the open, right? And then these are all 30-minute slices of time. And so you can see that this is a short covering rally, and we just sold off really hard into the close. Really sweet day. But anyway, you can see how it's shaded darker to lighter, and so that's really nice to illustrate. And so you can see, without breaking this apart, right, you can see here how this was early in the day, and then the market came back and it tested in the early afternoon and then rallied up into the close, right? And you can see that movement based on the shading. So you don't always need to break it apart, right? So if we do that, you can see, look, I could see that was how this TPO was built. You know, it's all just stacked the way it is without breaking it all apart. It just, each one of these stack on top of each other without regard to necessarily time. So the shading allows you to see the time aspect of it, and that's all it is. So it's a time shading. It's not volume or anything like that. And so that's what we do, or that's what I do. I think I've covered everything here. Yeah, the value area in my TPO is actually based on volume, by the way. So let's get into the settings real quick. And there's only 3 studies here. First, you got the TPO study. So I think it's just called TPO. Let's see. TPO. Yeah, there you go. TPO profile chart. So you add that, right? And so that's this one. And then we've got the current price line, and we got the volume by price study for the TPO chart. Okay, so let's go into the TPO. There's so many settings in this TPO chart, so I'm going to go as fast as I possibly can, and you guys are going to get to hopefully pause your screen a lot, because I just can't go through every single settings. This will be like a 3-4 hour long video, and I'm trying to keep this thing as short as I can for you guys. So letter break, you can just kind of go through this. This is 1, Profile length 1, it's in days, multiple periods, the based, here, let's see, make sure we get this all for you. Based on fixed time, 30 minutes, right here, these TPO blocks. Letters start at primary, yes, right? So just go through all, highlight open, highlight TPO value area, highlight TPOC, yes. Value area based on volume, yes, right? That's what I just referred to a few minutes ago. Point of control, highlight based on volume, no, right? TPO value area, 70%. So no, no. Number of POC ranges to color, 10. Count 2 levels at a time, no. Okay, extend TPO point of control until future intersection, yes. Until future intersection. Basically, this will keep these lines on the chart extending out until another profile hits them. And that's good because you want to be able to see that, like, for example, this was naked until today. And you see how I have it marked up right here? 316, N, naked, volume point of control, and naked time point of control zone right here. So the market did react here in real time. There was some reaction. Anyway, it can help you with your trading a bit. And let's see, profiles used for high-low within same profile and prior to prior profile. I do 2 for this price increment. Some people do 1, some people do 4, right? And this will be affected by how many letter block price increments. So if you have this at 4, then this is going to be affected by that. You can play with the relationship back and forth and just see how it works. You'll quickly understand that they're related. Anyway, volume value area percent 70. All right, that's sort of standard. TPO letter blocks color, single solid color. Shade TPO letter blocks based on, I believe it's time. It's been a while. There you go. Yes, that's the one that gets the shading. Subperiod price display style, blocks. For me, I like blocks. I don't care about, you know, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? All the way to M period so much. Most of those I know them just by looking at the blocks. I know what period we're in because, you know, I've watched market profile for long enough, right? M period's the final period. You can kind of deduce that's the final 30 minutes of the session. You can deduce everything from that, and then A period being the first. So whatever. It's I don't need it. So let's see back here. Blocks, letter font size 0 is auto. You can leave that. Percent width for volume profile, do 75%. Minimum width for volume profile bars, 10% or 10. New period at day session when starting evening, yes. Exclude evening session, except for last, no. Color letters for value area and point of control, yes. Set that, use reverse colors for letters, okay. I don't highlight at the open of each new sub period, right? And then that would have a color that would be set in the subgraphs. I don't do that. Set are these all to no, because I don't really care. It's just me. These extension lines that are automatically 150%, I do these. So these are usually set to none or something like that. So I do horizontal lines, and then you can set the percentages. I do 50 and 100, right? You can add 150 and 200%. I don't know. It's not that important to me. Most of the time, you only go 50 and 100%. Days like today are the exception, not the rule. So, and you can literally look at one of these initial balances, look at the 50, and then you can say, oh, 150 is right down here. 200% is like right here. We almost went to 200. Well, probably even went to 200% because we were like 47, 48. So, none of this. Not using any of these custom sub periods. If you wanted to break this all up into sub periods and do like, you know, Damon Pavlato style, you could do that with all the different sessions. That's cool, but whatever. Highlight opening range on TPO profile. No opening range, so I'm not highlighting it. Highlight closing range on TPO profile. Oh, I forgot the closing range to explain it. So that's what this is. The red represents the 5 minutes closing range. So closing range time and length in minutes, I've set it to 5. So the last 5 minutes moved like this. Shoo, right? It moved from here to here in this range, right? And then we close here. So I think moved up and then back down right to the middle. I don't know exactly. maybe it started here, but this is the range of the final 5-minute bar. I like to see that. So I'm actually going to change this right now to 1 minute, because the last minute is the highest concentration typically of volume, or even the last 30 seconds, which is when settlement's based on. And so there's the last minute, right? Down and then right back up to settlement, which you can't see on this, but I'm going to change this to 1 minute. Makes more sense now that I think about it. For the longest time I was looking at 5-minute, but lately, or more recently, I've been looking at shorter time frames to do some of my analysis. So anyway, TPO midpoint calculation, no, not really using any of this. Peaks and values include high lows, no, 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 no. Now, ignore singles and TP. Highlight close and profile, no. Highlight close of each new sub period, no. Show chart values on profile. I'm not showing any chart values, and yeah, those can be actually pretty interesting, but I do like the total volume on the volume by price. And I don't show any of the TPO stuff underneath. Again, I go for simplicity. Default column display style for all standard profile, right? And so there you go. I mean, if I missed talking about something relevant, again, you can always, again, scale range is automatic. You can always go back and pause the video and just check all the settings. There's a lot. I get it. All right. So the subgraphs, this is what they are colored like for me. Right? You can go through. So value area color. And again, it'll shade it darker or lighter based on time. So this one is based on this RGB, 153, 235. So there you go. Value area is 128ths down the row. TPOC, I think it is 255 down. RGBs, yep. Open marker color, it's always 255, 128, 0. I don't use the midpoint. Last trade arrow, again the same orange, 255, 135, 16. That's my common orange color. Initial balance range, right? That we have set 48, 162, 258, right? That's for this initial balance. The 50% for up, or for upside, which is this blue, 126, 209, 254, and then for downside, 245, 164, 154 RGBs. We're not using new sub. We're not using this one. We're not using opening range. We're not using these extension lines. For singles, I do them lighter. And what I do on singles is dot. And I do 140, 203, 255. Not using the subperiod closes. Not using these. Pour high, pour low, which are these big dashed lines. I forgot to mention that. Right? So pour high, pour low. We're using dash. We're using 255s all the way down. Closing range, which we just changed to 1 minute. It's this, my normal red color, 215, 40, 21. And there you have it. There's the TPO aspect of this. Trying to go as fast as I can. Current price line. If you want to get it set up, this is how I do it. I do it underneath the main price graph. Okay, so I set it that way. Same as region. And I do all of this. You can just copy it. Pause the screen. Subgraphs. I think it's 255. Yep. And then draw style. Line at last bar, left to right. The type is alternate. Again, this is RTH only, so again, this is how it looks, right? And I just like this moving up and down, and sometimes when price is moving up, you'll see, oh, it's hitting resistance on a prior area, so it's just nice to have this hit all these prior structures, and then sometimes go, oh, I should probably take a trade off those structures, or something like that, right? So that's kind of cool to include. And again, I turn all this stuff off here, display study name and all this, so that the top of this screen is nice and clean up here. I don't really like all my studies listed up here. Like this, look. Turn it on, you get all this garbage in here, right? Look, we know that the current price, we can look at the current prices down here, right? We can see what the current price is. Why do we need to know CPL? Like, yeah, it's just, so anyway, I keep that all off, right? It's redundant information that clutters things up, Okay, so this is for the daily chart. Now let's go, we're still on the daily chart. Let's go to volume by price. That's what it's called, volume by price. Let's see, let's find it. You guys, most of you know what this is. Volume by price, it's this study. Add it. Let's go into the settings for it. Ugh, another gazillion settings. So draw mode is volume profiles. Number of periods back to reference, 0. Ticks per volume bar, I do it 1. Volume graph period type based on TPO chart. Set as independent profile for TPO chart. Set that to no. Down this whole thing. So, pause the screen. Come all the way down. Okay. Use separate profiles for evening. No. Maximum volume bar width type. Window width. Okay. Maximum volume bar with %70. Okay. Right align volume bars. Yes. So right align. So it's pointed this way. That's how I have it. Display volume in bars. No, otherwise you get numbers in here. Volume. The volume bar calculation. Total volume. Value area POC. Blah, 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 blah. Based on total volume always. Set that to yes. Bid and ask volume separate. Bid ask volume coloring. I'm not using that. Draw outline when coloring bid. I'm not using it, but whatever. You can set it this way if you're having problems making it work, and maybe it'll affect something you're doing or not. Draw difference of bid ask. Blah, blah, no. Draw difference of bid ask volume. Using price percent of max bar. No. Use transparent draw style. No. Transparency level. Obviously, if this was on, then this would be the transparency level. Highlight value area. No, because our value area of the TPO is already set on volume, so these would be the same. And I just want to see high volume edges or high volume nodes, right? Thus edges or nodes, whatever. And I want to see the orange. So, you know, it's kind of, I don't need to show the thing that I'm already showing in the TPO, which is the value area high-low based on volume, right? So, extend value area, this is not even on, right? None. All right, value area percentage, doesn't matter. Highlight point of control. No, I'm not highlighting the point of control. Extend point of control until future intersection. This turn on. You're like, what? You'll see. Future intersection method is when volume profiles are hit within. So whatever, do that. Align volume numbers to base of volume. If that was turned on, the text, then this would be yes. Anyway, volume bars draw method, hologram. So allow side-by-side profiles on the right side. No, I'm not doing a composite or anything. And this is based on the TPO chart, so set that to no. User defined width for side-by-side profiles, yes. Not sure that matters with my settings. Do not overlap on DOM graph. I've set to yes. Peaks and valleys, end of period, okay. Highlight value, no. Color code volume bars based on percentage of POC. Yes. Okay. So here's how we do it. We do number of POC ranges to color. I think it's going to be all 10. By default, it'll have this 10, but you can change that. So I have it set to 10. So you can just pause your screen and look at these RGBs, right? Super simple. 0 to 30% are all gray, and then 30 to 100% of based on the percentage of POC are orange, and that'll get you these orange highlights. So I've done all the tweaking to get essentially the highlights right, essentially. So display data in chart values window. I do yes. That's here. Show chart values on profile. Show chart values on profile with labels. So here's your label. There's the text font size for the label. I am doing bottom of the graph for the position of this. You can display up to 4. I'm doing only volume, right? Keeping it simple. Volume profile bars length relative to all visible. Set yes. Otherwise, these are going to be really big compared to only its own volume profile. You do want to compare it and see what the rotations look like for the volume profile. So set that to yes. It's an important one. Okay, now let's go into the subgraph. Okay, scale. Before we do that, it's automatic. All right, draw study underneath main price graph. That's what I want For whatever reason I'm doing that. If you don't do it, then you might find it doesn't work well for some weird reason. Who knows? Volume point of control, VPOC, right? So that's essentially this orange line, and again, it is 255, 135, 16. Value area high-low we're not using. Bid ask volume we're not using. Volume, numbers, text colors. You want to set the first one for the text here. Volume bars outline and fill. You do want to set the first one for the outline, I believe, or maybe you don't. You don't even need to because we're basing that on this. So this doesn't even. But if you do run into problems, I don't know, maybe try setting this. I don't remember all the relationships that are established from this, but whatever. So here's the colors. 96 is down the row. Volume numbers a little lighter. 192 is down, right? Value area and outline. We're not using it, but if in case you are, 128's. Evening session. I don't know. 96 is down the row. A lot of this you're not using. Like volume closing profile, not even on. A lot of this other stuff I'm not using. Okay, so, but here's the settings in case. You have the other settings, but a lot of these won't even be activated even though they're visible because they're not turned on. Okay, so I use chart graphic settings for subgraph colors. You don't have to do that because I would keep this off because it'll give you more control over the colors. But I just so happen to have, like for my global chart graphics settings, they're all pretty consistent with the colors that I want. So if you want to change all the colors here and you're using something, you're like, hey, it's not working color wise, turn this off and then get the colors right, get the settings right, and then that will make everything all good. So here's the daily one. We're done, I do believe. We did the CPL, so we've got the 3 here. Let's save this because we did change this setting to 1 minute. All right. Now let's move on to the other chart. Maximize the window, and this is now my weekly chart. Essentially, this is set up exactly the same way as my daily chart, except that the closes are blue instead of orange, because you know I like to have these colors associated with my charts: blue, red, whatever, white, and orange. And I'm not putting the last 5 minutes or 1 minute closing, whatever it was called. I'm just not putting that in there because it's a weekly chart. It's not. I don't really care about what price did on this weekly chart in the last 1 or 5 minutes of the whole week, right? It's just not the way I'm analyzing. So let's just get into it. It's going to be very similar to the daily one. You're going to use the TPO study, and let's get into the settings. Let's look at it, right? A letter, block, price, increment, and ticks 2. Why? Because it's a weekly. You don't have to do every single tick. You could even put 4 on this. I just like 2. And my chart performance is actually quite good on using 2 ticks. Some people will find that this chart will be more responsive with 4 ticks. Okay, so anyway, profile time length period. Period length 1. It's 1 week. So each one of these is 1 week. Again, this setting here, it's multiple profiles or periods based on fixed time. TPO letter block time is 30 minutes. That's whatever, it's fine. It'll work. So letters always start at primary session. Again, we're not using letters. Align volume. So a lot of this is going to be the same. Highlight TPO value area, highlight TPOC, yes. Based on highlight value area based on volume is yes, right? Point of control based on volume? No, it's based on time. So that's the TPOC. Color TPO row based on percentage is no. Number of POC ranges to color 10. Count 2 levels at a time, no. Extend value area, no. Extend TPO point of control until future intersection, yes. Extend singles, sure, why not? You should probably look at daily for singles and stuff. You'll see structure better, but you know, you can put them on this weekly chart. You don't have to, but I do, right? So like you can see there's some singles up here, right? Extend TPO point of control until future intersection. All right, until future intersection. Let's see. Extend pour high, pour low. No, because you really care about that more on the daily TPOs. Profiles used for poor high. Okay, we're not using that. This TPO letter blocks, single solid color. Shade TPO letter blocks based on time. Again, based on time, we're going to say yes. Right? So, again, you can break apart. You can kind of see here, right? This is it started somewhere in here for the week. And then, right, early in the week, tested. And then by the end of the week, it we had a whole bunch of activity here, and then we closed on high. So let's break it apart and see if that's what happened. There you go. Right? Came up, and then whoosh, big move up to end the week and end the week, right? So you can see the shading helps you to not have to split apart these TPOs to see how they actually moved, right? So it's kind of cool. I dig it. Saves me time sometimes. Again, maybe a little bit tricky, right? The week started out here, tested up, came all the way down. So you can tell just by this week that we started somewhere in this area in the dark, and then early in the week kind of tested up. It's all bright red. It comes bright, bright all the way down. Here's so humongous rejection towards the end of the week. This week, obviously, the last 2 days, just big, big selling, huge selling. So anyway, so back to this study, back into it. All right, subperiod, we're doing blocks based on time. Letter font size, okay, we're doing 10 for this. Not sure it really matters because we don't really have a whole lot that is based on font. Okay, so percent width for volume profiles in bars, we're doing 3. New period at day session, yes. Color letters for value, point control, yes. Sorry, I'm just trying to get through this fast. You see, there's so many settings in here, so many settings. I'm not doing extensions. These don't matter to me on the weekly, but maybe they will for one of you guys. I don't know, whatever. So this is set to none, so that's different. But a lot of this, you know what I would do? I suggest you do the daily, copy everything over, so copy all the studies. So save it as a study collection, open a new chart, apply the study collection, right? And then go in and just change some of the settings, right? Change the major time settings and just change some of the settings here. It's like we don't even have we don't even have an opening range on TPO profile, so whatever. Okay, so anyway, just copy all of this. You can copy this doesn't even matter. You can copy all of this if you want. It's not going to matter. Highlight close and profile, no. See, you're not even showing chart values. That's going to be handled by the volume by price. So anyway, go to the subgraphs, right? I'm not using charts graphic settings for subgraph colors because these are slightly some different colors. So anyway, you can look at all of this. A lot of this doesn't. TPO letter block color does not even, well, it does matter. Use this one. So this one is 192 down the row. Point of control's 255. That'll give you be a little bit brighter than this color here. So if the TPOC is over a white area, you'll still, or a light gray area, it'll still pop and you'll see it. So value area is the same old red that I had in the other 215, 40, 21 RGBs. Value area, let's see, extension lines, don't use it. TPOC, let's see, TPO letter block color, TPOC, let's see, point of control color, point of control extension line here. Again, that should be 255s. Open marker, no, are we not using an open marker? I don't think we're using an open marker. Maybe we do have it, I don't know. Last trade arrow color, so there you go, that's down here. Opening range highlight color, not using a lot of this. Let's see, singles we are using, and you can see it's the dash, right here, singles. Guess we could actually change that to what it is on the well, we won't change it, let's leave it. Pour high, pour lows, not using a lot of that. Closing ranges, all this other stuff, not really using it, right? But you have all the colors in case you want to put it in their study subgraphs. I have this region data line turned off for these charts. So not going to show up on some of these anyway. Okay, so anyway, that's the weekly one. And I think that covers, does it cover everything? Oh no, I got to get the volume by price in there. So here's the CPL current price line. Again, same darn thing, line at last bar left to right. Da, 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 da. Underneath main price graph, so it's not over the top of all this stuff. You can copy all of this. Scale is probably same as region. Okay. So there's this one, and then the volume by price. Again, ticks per volume bar is going to be set to whatever the TPO. So as soon as you set this to based on TPO chart, it'll bring in the ticks per volume bar the same as the TPO chart. That's what it does. So just letting you know that it will just base the volume by price off a lot of the settings of the TPO when you turn this on. So again, a lot of the exact same thing. So you guys can go through. I'm not going to go through every single setting here. I'm just going to scroll down, and then you can change the settings. Scroll down. You can change all these settings. Highlight point of control. Yes, whatever. If you want it like this, so this one's going through. Future intersection, volume profiles, whatever. Volume bars draw methods, holograms. This is set to yes. I think I had composite profiles here at one time. I'm not anymore. I don't know. Maybe I'll add it again this weekend. I don't know if I have time. Here's the settings for this. Right? Color code, whatever. A lot of these are going to be the same settings, right? The same settings, same RGBs. Display data and chart values. Yes, that's for this volume. And then the range. It's also showing the range, right? So I showed range on the weekly. I want to see what the range of prices. So profile range is how it's sent. See that? Profile range. And then this one's volume up here. Text font size, I've got it set to 8, but you know, you want to make it relevant to what you're doing. You know, I actually should set that to 7. Ha, much better. Okay, subgraphs, point of control is this same orange, right? 255, 135, 16. Volume numbers and text colors, this is going to control this. So 192s, volume bars outline fill color, 96s. A lot of this is all the same. A lot of this, let's see, enclosing outlines. Yeah, a lot of this other stuff. Use chart graphic settings for subgraph colors. I do have that on, but you know, again, that could be an issue for you if your global graphic settings are a little funky and it affects some of these colors in a way you don't want it to. So turn that off, and then you can come in here and change the colors. But yeah, shouldn't be too much of a problem with based on how we put the settings here. So anyway, that's it. That's as quick as I can make the video, unfortunately. Trying to talk about it a little bit. I know a lot of it's garbled, but I'm trying to be quick. So anyway, have a great weekend. Please like, subscribe, share. I appreciate all of that. Follow me on Twitter. I'm pretty actively posting on Twitter these days, and sharing a lot of setups, a lot of things that maybe I don't have time to make YouTube videos about, but there will be more YouTube videos coming. I promise you that, especially on tactics and how to use a lot of this stuff. It's just I've got a young family. It's just that, you know, anybody who's a parent of young kids knows they just take a lot of time, and it's worth it. It's worth it. They're my loves. So anyway, have a great weekend, and hope you guys traded well this week. Should be a really fun week next week with high volatility and all kinds of volume nodes and everything put in. So lots of movement, and trade hard, trade well, and I appreciate you guys watching. Take care. Bye bye.